Welcome to Sco Buff Sports and happy Masters Week, especially to Rick George, who's spending his weekend in Augusta. Guess he doesn't care about the Buff spring game, but honestly, who does? I'm Xavier McNevitz alongside Jake Chow. Let's jump right in.
The men's basketball transfer portal opened on April 7th, and it's been a rough week for Buff fans. 8 players have entered the Buff portal so far, including guard Isaiah Johnson, forward Sebastian Ranchik, Bengot Dak, and Alon McKaylee, center Fawaz Taco Iafalo, guard Felix Gusarich, guard Andrew Crawford, and guard John Manny. But Tad Boyle is building a solid foundation of returning pieces. Star guard Barrington Hargrass is the anchor. Joining him are guards Josiah Sanders, Jalen Holland, and Ian Inman, all of whom announced on Friday that they're re-signed and locked in for next season.
The portal didn't leave the women's team unscathed either. Freshmen Ariana Good and Issa Himalayan announced their intentions to enter the portal earlier this week. Graduate center Jojo Nawari and sophomore forward Tabitha Benson also entered the portal. The team's leading scorer Desiree Wooten will also be leaving Boulder. Those 5 players accounted for nearly a third of the Buffs' points last year. But guard Ziana Walker announced she will be staying in Boulder for her senior season. Walker averaged over 11 points per game this season and made the NCAA tournament every single year of her career. She's joined by returner Mae McErlane, who hit a big 3 in the Buffs' Big 12 tournament run. Also returning is Kennedy Sanders, who was poised for a breakout season before undergoing season-ending hip surgery. Centers Sophie Zadell and Jade Crook, also freshmen, will be back in the black and gold, anchoring down the Buffs' 5 spot.
In the wake of the portal shakeup, let's take you to Mason Davis alongside me for this week's Buff Banner.
Rumors and announcements are swirling. Welcome into Buff Banner, Mason Davis alongside Jake Chow. And Jake, with the Buff season now over, we're looking toward the transfer portal this offseason. What are you expecting out of the Buffs these next few weeks?
Yeah, a lot of portal talk within the black and gold this year, especially around the men's basketball team. One guy that I thought brought a lot of contributions to this team and was kind of undersung to a lot of people was Bengot Dak. And so that's why when I look at who Tad Boyle and company should target, I look at a guy like Braden East out of Lamar University. He's a 6'9 sophomore, so a little bit smaller than Bengot Dak, but he kind of does what Bengot Dak does, just a little bit better. 12 points per game, 9 rebounds, and he's that kind of slam, do-it-all, high-flying, highlight reel, and I know Ken Warder back there in the booth will love that kind of play style.
Yeah, Jake, I like what you're cooking up. I think there's 2 things I really want the Buffs to hit on these next few weeks. I think building in that front court, we did see the Buffs sadly lose a lot of front court personnel. They are going to have to rebuild that if they want any chance to compete in such a physical and good Big 12 conference coming up. And in addition to that, we did see good news. Ian Inman and Jalen Holland both sticking around this next year, both good, promising freshmen that I want to see Tad and company build more on that young core. I was actually looking at a guy, Wilson Jacks out of Fresno State. Freshman big, averaged 8 and 8 and almost a block a game last year. Building both on that young core, adding front court size, I think could be a good get for the Buffs in the next few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially with the absence of Isaiah Johnson, who was the Buffs' leading scorer this past season. You have guys like Barrington Hargrass, you mentioned Ian Inman, Josiah Sanders, and then Jalen Holland all coming back staying in Boulder. I think it'll be a nice little group that the Buffs can build around, and they can trust their guards and hope that they take a step forward. Yeah. This isn't a year that they're looking to compete. This is a year that they're looking to build for the future, even though the guy that they really wanted to keep in Isaiah Johnson didn't end up staying.
Yeah, sad there, but we are glad to see Josiah staying around, all those other guys. I think that's going to do it for us. Mason Davis, Jake Chow, thanks for guys tuning in to Buff Banner. Back to you guys at the desk.
The Buffs are hosting their annual Black and Gold Spring Game tomorrow, Saturday, April 11th at Folsom Field. Gates open at 11 a.m. and kickoff is set for 1 p.m. Mountain Time. For the first time in the Deion Sanders era, tickets are free. In the incredibly rare event that a CU Spring Game isn't pouring outside, we will also see the return of freshman phenom Ralphie Seven, who made her career debut just 8 months ago. Coverage of the game will actually be on Colorado's YouTube channel, and you can follow along with Sco Buff Sports social media for live updates as CU welcomes another major roster turnover.
Speaking of that turnover, Colorado's roster was a revolving door this offseason. Coach Prime and the Buffs brought in over 40 transfers from Blue Blood programs with proven talent. That includes 2 transfers from the Texas Longhorns with wide receiver DeAndre Moore and Leona Lefau. Among the programs they snagged players from are Georgia, Alabama, and a lot of Sacramento State Hornets. In fact, a lot of transfers have ties to old Hornet head coach, now Buffalo's offense coordinator, Brandon Marion. while the offense will be vanilla in the spring game, according to Marion, to provide a nice glimpse at the reloaded roster.
All right, Buff fans, it's trivia time, and we're getting very meta with today's question. Scope Buff Sports is sending a record number of media personnel to this year's spring game, and it has us wondering, who will be there more of at the spring game? Returning Buffs players or Scope Buff Sports members on credential? This one's a tricky one, so think on it as we await the answer later in the newscast.
On Monday, an autopsy report revealed that Colorado quarterback Dominic Ponder was under the influence of alcohol when he was killed in a single car crash on March 1st. The report relayed by USA Today said that Ponder had a blood alcohol content of over twice the legal limit while driving alone into Boulder late that night. Boulder County Coroner's Office also reported that high speed contributed to the severity of his fatal injuries. Ponder's family hopes his legacy can serve a lesson about responsible decision-making for young people, saying a difficult conversation is easier than a lifetime of loss. The number 5 ranked Florida Gators chomped away at the Buffs' late comeback attempt last weekend. The two teams were evenly matched headed into the fourth quarter, tied at 5. 3 straight goals from 3 separate goal scorers helped propel Florida to a lead that the Buffaloes couldn't surmount. Jamie Hill recorded a hat trick while Rachel Kennedy scored twice in the Buffs' 9-7 loss.
The women's lacrosse team wrapped up their 2-game road streak with a game against Jacksonville University. The Buffs came into this game coming off of the bitter loss against number 6 ranked Florida. The Buffs started off with the scoring with a goal from the aforementioned Kennedy, giving the Buffs an early lead. Jacksonville was quick to respond, and the two teams battled it out for the rest of regulation. The game was ultimately sealed after a goal from Rowan Edson won it for the Buffs in overtime. During the game, both Kennedy and Hill surpassed the 50-goal career milestone.
Senior defender and team captain Jess Peluso earned Big 12 Defender of the Week. This is her 5th weekly conference award this season and her 8th of her career. She's also one of 4 Buffs on the Twarton Watch List, which is awarded to the best player in women's lacrosse.
On Black and Gold Day at noon, the lacrosse team will be back at home to take on Cincinnati. The Bearcats are 8-6 and 0-2 in Big 12 play, tying for last in the conference, while the Buffs are coming in hot, ranked 12th in the nation after their stretch in Florida. Be sure to catch the matchup at Kittredge Field.
After Cincy, the Buffalo Stampedes Denver to take on the Pioneers. Face-off is at Wednesday at 6 p.m. and will be played in Denver. The Pios have a 2-10 record with an undefeated conference record. DU is also undefeated at home.
The women's golf squad finished 4th at the Chevron Silverado Showdown on Wednesday. The Buffs sat in a tie for 8th place headed into the final round when junior Caroline Fuller put the team on her back. In the 3rd round, she shot 6 strokes under par and helped Colorado jump 4 places on the leaderboard. She finished the tournament 4 strokes under par and a tie for 7th place individually. After Fuller, junior Myra McVeigh had the next best score, finishing 4 strokes over par. The Buffs are now done with the regular season and are gearing up for the Big 12 Championship starting on April 23rd in Dallas.
The men's golf squad is currently finishing the 2nd round at the Thunderbird Intercollegiate as we speak. The 1st round was played earlier this morning with the Buffalo's quintet struggling early in Phoenix. The team combined for 11 bogeys on the front 9, yikes, but caught on fire on the back 9 to finish the round, 4 strokes under par. Junior Brandon Knight was the only team member to avoid a bogey on his front 9, finishing the first round 2 strokes under par. The last round of the tournament will be played tomorrow.
The track and field team is in the middle of the Kit Mayer Classic, hosted by the School of Mines in Golden. Field events took place this Wednesday, where Amanda Opp had her best throw of the season, and Lucas Williams placed 8th. Tomorrow, Olivia Sheridan will compete in the 1,500-meter race, while Kimmy Bolto and Helen Carlson will compete in the 800-meter.
Welcome to Folsom Feud. I'm your host, Colby, here with 3 contestants today, Lincoln, Balin, and Kieran. Lincoln, start us off.
I'll take game day etiquette for 200.
All right. This is the best way to show respect during the CU fight song.
What is standing, singing loud, and raising your hand in the hook 'em horn sign?
Not what we're looking for. Balin, you have an answer?
What is stand up, sing loud, and do the Ralphie horns?
Correct. Balin, the board is yours.
Give me tailgate traditions for 400.
All right, here's the answer. The must-have item to wear on game day to show your buff pride. Kieran?
What is black and gold?
That's correct. Nothing says school spirit like those two colors. Choose the next one.
Let's do fan etiquette for 600.
Fan etiquette. The proper response when you hear someone yell, "Go Buffs."
What is skull, Buffs?
Skull Buffs is right. Looks like we've got some true Buffs fans here. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to our contestants, and see you next time.
The cold streak continues for the tennis team as they lost a tough match to number 34 ranked Baylor yesterday. Tomorrow is the team's senior game where they will take on 20th ranked TCU. Before the game, seniors Anya Nelson and Rix Van Deerwerf will be celebrated.
Hopefully the tennis team can use tomorrow to get some momentum going into the Big 12 championship. The tournament starts Wednesday. Colorado has the third worst conference record, so they will receive the lower seed in the tournament. But if they win the Big 12 championship, they'll get an automatic bid to the NCAA tourney.
After a series win against the Air Force Falcons last weekend, baseball plays in its biggest series of the year. The Colorado State Rams take a trip down from FOCO for a 3-game series at Scott Carpenter Park. The Buffs come into the conference matchup 5-5 in the Midwest American play, while the Rams are still searching for their first conference win. The first game of the series is tonight at 7 p.m., and the series will end with a doubleheader on Saturday starting at 11 a.m. All 3 games can be found right here on Scopo Sports.
Women's Club Lacrosse had their senior night cap off their senior this season this past weekend with the final game against the BYU Cougars. The Buffs put up a good fight, but ultimately came up short and were unable to come away with the win. This was an unfortunate way for the Buffs to end their season.
The men's lacrosse team, however, had a great time on the road, sweeping both Utah State and Utah. Unfortunately, the Buffs returned home on Thursday to take on the number 2 ranked Cougars of BYU. After a heated battle, the Buffs ultimately lost by 1. The Buffs play tonight at Kitchers Field where they take on the number 1 ranked Utah Valley Wolverines. Protect your neck, Wolverines. You're on Buff Surf now.
All 4 of the CU Club volleyball teams went to Kansas City last weekend for the NCBF Nationals. The women's B team ended up winning the bronze bracket, winning their division with 5 wins and 4 losses. Congrats to the Buffs for bringing home the bronze.
Hey, Buff fans, did you miss me? Oh, of course you did. If you're new here, I'm Kieran Walker, back with this week's top 5 plays in Colorado sports. My week of morning BD is over, so let's dive right in with some men's hoops. It only seems appropriate. We go way back in time, almost a week and a half to the Crown Tournament. Barrington Hargress driving up court, lays it up with the left hand. It's up and good, sending Colorado to overtime against the Oklahoma Sooners in round 1 of the Crown Tournament. That game did not end in the Buffalo's favor, but nonetheless, a great play. Let's go over to men's lax now. This was last night as they faced the BYU Cougars. Craig Nom takes a shot, and that bounced off the stick of goaltender Easton Wilkie. A fluke goal for Nom against the number 2 team in the country. What a play. We stay at that game now. It's later. It's the 4th quarter. BYU out in front. And Kyle Crump makes an incredible save for Colorado. The freshman goaltender making things happen. Now it's taken by Braden Sheehan going past midfield with speed, charging, takes a shot, but it's blocked out in front. What a series for Colorado as they try to come back in that game, falling just short. Now let's go over to that Jacksonville game. Varsity Lax, Tegan Ryan takes a shot, rebound, score, ladies and gentlemen, that's Rowan Edson in overtime. The 2 Westchester, New York natives, Ryan and Edson, making it happen for Varsity Lax. Not that far from where I grew up. Now for number 1, let's go back to men's lax. Graydon Easton with an incredible interception and a wide open net for Colorado. Ladies and gentlemen, that man is not human. What a grab and an interception. And Colorado back on top. That's all I've got for you this week here on SBS. I'm Kieran Walker, wishing you a wonderful weekend.
Here we see Xavier McNevitz working on his reader for the live show. If we didn't have these readers done by Thursday night, chances are we would not be airing this show right now. Be like Xavier. Get your readers done. And don't forget to click save so that you don't lose any of your hard-earned work.
What's up, Buff fans? I'm Jackie Rivera, and I'm bringing you this week's Rapid Fire. So let's get to it. First things first, we have club baseball tonight, playing at 7 p.m., Game 1 of their 3-game series at Scott Carpenter Park, and streamed right here on ScoBuff Sports. Let's head over to Saturday. It's going to be a busy day for the Buffs. We have track and field competing in the Kit Meyer Classic all day in Golden, Colorado. Next, we have men's golf competing in the 3rd round against Arizona State University all day in Phoenix, Arizona. Last but not least, we have the Colorado Spring Game taking place at Folsom Field at 1 p.m. That's all we have for this week. Back to y'all at the desk.
Thanks, Jackie. And now it's time for the much awaited answer to this week's trivia question. Earlier, we asked you, who will be there more at this year's spring game? SBS members or returning football players? And this answer may shock you. Drum roll, please. ScoBuff Sports! With over 50 new players brought in this offseason, Colorado has 15 returners on the roster. SBS, meanwhile, is sending 20 people to the spring game. Not bad for a student media group.
Our tweet of the week comes from, well, us. Our exclusive interview with Athletic Director Fernando Lobo is out now. Over 4 months in the making, the new AD sat down with Harrison Simeon to discuss how CU is navigating a $27 million budget deficit, his dynamic with Deion Sanders, the future of non-revenue sports, and more. Check it out on our YouTube channel.
If one shameless plug for the Lovo interview wasn't enough, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell icon to get notified every time Sandy P. Syme's son gets a cold shoulder from Steve. I'm Jake Chow alongside Xavier McNevich, and you heard it here first.